There's only one man battling the forces of evil. They are coming.
Now!
They will find you.
Now!
They will search for answers. No one has dared to go to save the world. There is only one.
To beat a man, you gotta beat the man!
He is legend.
Okay, I'm responding to Rich Prater's comment under my video where I have Basia at the gravesite. And he says, with all due respect, Basia said she was walking away, but she stood there while people were spraying that silly string. Basia told me, I said, this is where the silly string was at. And she said, yeah, I was walking away. That's all she said. She didn't say I walked away through a fit. She just was taken aback. She had already told Darlie not to spray the silly string. And I see there's a clip out there of Dana coming up to the grave and saying, I brought some silly string. I brought some pops too. That's part of the 14-hour police surveillance video. So it's out there, because then they come back later and do this. But anyways, Rich says, well, she didn't walk away. She was just standing there like everybody else. But I want to make this clear because I re-asked Basia this question. Let's watch this very slowly. I'm going to go ahead and put this on 05. Let's see what we got. Now, see Basia? She did not want her to do that. But she's singing. Now watch. The silly string got on Drake. She took the silly string off Drake. She goes to pick him up, scoop up, and cut. What happened? They cut it off. It doesn't show. Again, let's see. She looks perturbed to me. She didn't make a big deal out of it, but again, slow it down even further for those in the back. She is not looking at Darlie. She is looking at Drake. She is looking towards the boys' graves, but she is singing. Then some silly string got on him. See her picking it up? This is her disdain with the silly string. And then she gets that silly string off of him. And then scoop. And then she walked away. But she came back later on. And you'll see her and more. Let me just see if I can find another clip of her. She said she was standing next to Darlie when they did that interview. There's a better shot of it. She said she was standing over here by Darlie when they did that interview. There's Joe Munoz. And she said she could see the fake. Let me find another one. It moves away when she starts to walk away. But she walks away. She doesn't like the situation, but she's not going to throw a fit about it. But let's just keep watching this. Scoop. She gets that silly string off of him. She didn't like that on him. Then she's going to pick him up. Then it cuts off. That's where she moved away from it. Because you notice, he comes back to it. Comes back later, though. Looks like she's trying to keep him out of that silly string to me. She didn't want it on him. And you see over here again. There you see Danelle spraying it at Drake. And Basia doesn't care for it. So, Rich is focused on, out of all that I've had, I brought Basia up 3 different times, 3 different interviews over the last 2 weeks. And what Rich focused on, instead of all the things that she said about Darren having the gun, Darlie trying to get her to lie while she was in Lou Sterrett, on appeal. Basia saying she lied to me. Darren waving a gun around. Let me see what else. There was so much stuff that Basia said, and the only thing he's focused on is, well, she said she walked away and she's standing right there. She is, but she doesn't look over at him. because she don't like it. And then when it came over towards the baby, she's watching that silly string. See it? Then when it comes over towards the baby, then when it hits the baby, gets on the baby's shoe, she gets it off of him, then she picks him up to take him away, and it cuts off. The news don't want to show somebody walking away from that. Let's go on again. Now look. Now she's standing over by the grave, but the silly string is over. You see the silly string laying there. That's her mother putting a card down for the boys. What I wonder is, Rich and the supporters, they keep saying that Darlie had this falling out with Basia. Did it happen after the silly string party where she was letting her tend to her kid? While she's over there talking to Julie Clark? When did they have this falling out? Because you kept saying they had this falling out. I think they had this falling out as soon as Basia got on the stand and testified against her. Because if I had a falling out with somebody, I'll be damned if they'll be holding my baby. They also said that she was mentally ill, drug addicted. She did. I asked her about that. She had some run-ins with the pills thing because she had broken her back. She had spinal surgery. That's why she gets a neuropathy. And people with pain pills are known to pass them out to each other for ailments. I've done it. Like I when my back was tore up, I ran out of Vicodins. I knew my ex-wife got them. She didn't like them, and I just asked her for a couple. That's illegal, but it's not a drug addiction type of thing. That's the same way that Basia went through it. She says that she had, and Sully came up on Rich's channel and said she had cocaine charges in 96, 97. They didn't present any of that. Everything that happened to Basia happened after this. But Sully sat up there and said, well, look, she's got this, and this. And she said that she had charges in 96, but she never showed them. Never showed them at all. But that's not a big deal because Darren's got a sister named Miranda that also had some drug charges. And the person that was sitting on Rich's panel has a drug charge herself. Did go through mental illness and was on a stronger drug than cocaine and pills. She was on heroin and meth. But she wanted to sit on Rich's panel and tell you why you shouldn't listen to Basia. Then Danelle goes to... I'll tell you what, Danelle's a cute little person. She's a cute little teenager, good-looking woman. Just cute as a button. You can see the silly string all over the grave. Basia didn't like it. So instead of focusing on the things that Basia was telling us that we haven't heard, I heard stuff from her that I didn't record, that I just notioned that she has no reason whatsoever to lie. None. She won't benefit from a lie. It won't hurt her if she lies. She has no reason to lie. This is a woman who sat quietly for almost 20 years before she even talked about the case. She's got absolutely no reason to lie. Darlie does. Darren does. Danelle does. They've all got reasons to lie. Danelle doesn't want her sister to die. Darren doesn't want everybody to think he's an asshole. So he just sticks with his story. What reason does Basia have to lie? That's what I'll ask. Justice for Devin and Damon. Here's Basia's response to that. They gotta kind of... Okay, what happened when they started to filming? I started walking away from the grave, and Darlie called me back. So I turned around and walked right back to the grave, and then they started to party. No, I stayed there because she was my boss, and she told me that I better be there, that she's paying for me for the time I'm there, that I'm not at work, but it didn't matter. I knew what they were going to do. I couldn't stop them. I've told them before that stupid party, darling, please don't do that. Don't do that. All you just don't know. And so she's still planning anything with me, actually. That's where she kind of cut me off to. That's all I can tell you and show, and the silly string to him. how one behaves when it's caught in the middle of a horror movie. I didn't know what to do with myself, and I could have just showing him the string. I didn't remember, but it's possible, if anything. Anything else you want to know? She didn't invite me to that first grave party or whatever, the memorial to call it, but she insisted on me being there, and I didn't want to go. She said, I'm still at work. She goes, well, with myself, I'm closing it down, and you better be at the cemetery. She already had my mother there, I think. I don't remember, love. Okay, have a great evening. It was good to meet you in person. If there's anything else you would like to know. I had this set up the other day because Rich made that comment under my video. Well, Basia said she walked away. No, Basia said she was walking away. Right, you got to listen. And she said well, she was standing right there with them. Yeah, she went to walk away, but Darlie called her back. So you got to listen to the whole thing. I was walking away, not I walked away. Rich, you got to listen close. I was walking away. Darlie called her back. You better be over here because I'm your boss and I pay you.